I'd like to welcome everybody. A really hearty welcome and good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Of course, the majority of us are going to be based in the Asia Pacific region, but I know I've seen some names online that is definitely outside of that region, so welcome. This is the side event for the Data for Better Climate Action campaign, and the event is called How to Use Climate Transparency to Achieve Effective Climate Action while Advancing National Development. So a little bit of background and a bit of structure to this side event is that I'll just introduce the campaign and the event. We've got some opening remarks from our Vice Minister of the Ministry of Environment of Japan. And then we've got a panel of 4 speakers that will each do kind of a 4 to 5 minutes intervention. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. About a month and a half ago, on May the 11th, 14 global entities launched this campaign, and it's a renewed effort to scale up data-driven climate action around the world. So we thought that with the COP26 event coming up just around the corner and now 4 months away, what the campaign tries to do is raise awareness of the inherent value of transparency in pursuing climate action, and not only climate action, but the additional benefits that go beyond simply the reporting requirements. So we believe as a campaign and all the partners that we need to have sound data and information systems in place, because they help design and implement strong evidence-based policies. So these frameworks, as we might all be quite aware, they have many benefits, whether it's enabling national ownership, integrating relevant stakeholders, and ensuring accountability at all different levels. But where the crux is that by being able to demonstrate the impact of climate policies on a country's sustainable development, then these transparency frameworks can allow and enable the climate policy to be integrated into national policy processes. And this then, of course, has a lot of flow-on effects. So the campaign, transparency is the backbone of the Paris Agreement, and it's really we want to try and provide as much information and support to all countries as we look towards transitioning to the BTR setup and as well as NDC revision. So I think I'll get straight into it. So what this session is really trying to do is shed light on these stories and these experiences from different countries and real examples, and hopefully can really inspire everyone, with not only the why, but also a bit of the how to get there. So the tiny bit of housekeeping is in the right-hand side of your column. You'll see the chat function, or the Q&A function, sorry. Please add your questions and also to the speakers as we go. As I said, we can, if there's some pertinent questions, jump in after each speaker. And we'll also save them towards the end for a broader Q&A. So I think I will go to the first speaker, which is opening remarks. And let me just load it up, because it is Mr. Yutaka Shorter, who is the Vice Minister for Global Environmental Affairs at the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Naturally, with such as Japan being the hosts of the Regional Climate Week, he couldn't be here in person. So he has left a video message.
本日は日本が開催国となり開かれたアジア太平洋気候ウィーク APCW のサイドイベントにおいてご挨拶の機会をいただきまして心より感謝申し上げます。世界中が脱炭素の大競争時代に突入する中、我が国においても昨年10月、菅総理は2050年カーボンニュートラルを目指す旨を宣言し、今年4月にはさらにその途中となる2030年度の温室効果ガス 46% 削減と 50% の高みに向けた挑戦を続けることを宣言しました。 年は米国グラスゴーにおいて10月末から COP26 の開催が予定されるなど、気候変動問題への対応にとって非常に重要な年です。日本としてはこうした中、世界の実効的な脱炭素化のため、途上国、新興国における政策策定から対策実行までをパッケージで支援してまいります。具体的には、例えば我が国のシミュレーションモデルを活用して長期戦略の策定を促進してまいります。また、先月取りまとめた脱炭素インフライニシアティブに基づき、二国間クレジット制度 JCM を通じて脱炭素インフラの導入を一層強力に促進してまいります。また、温室効果ガスの有効な排出削減のためには、各主体が自らの企業活動による排出量を着実に把握することが不可欠となります。つまり、ある目的地に到達するためには、まずは自分の居場所を明らかにすることが何よりも重要なのです。排出量の把握により、排出削減のために必要なアクションを知ることにもつながります。そしてそのためには、各国における制度的枠組みの構築により、透明性を向上させていく取り組みが欠かせません。こうした取り組みは、排出削減に寄与するというのみならず、ESG 投資を呼び込むためにも求められます。投資家は排出量を含む気候変動関連の開示を企業に求めていくことから、グローバル企業のサプライチェーンに連なる観点からも、自らの排出量を算定し、公表することなどは重要性を増しています。ESG 投資環境を整えるためにも、透明性向上は重要なのです。我が国としては、排出量の算定、報告、公表を義務付ける制度構築や運用の経験に基づいて、ASEAN 地域において、こうした制度構築を支援するための地域ガイドラインを策定するほか、政策分析や研修などを含む二国間協力を通じた制度構築の支援に丁寧に取り組んでおります。さらには、その経験を幅広く発信し、世界的な透明性の強化に寄与してまいります。本日のサイドイベントでは、透明性をテーマとして、さまざまな国や機関の専門家が集まり、意見交換するものであり、大変時機を得た企画だと言えます。本イベントを通じて、透明性の向上に関する議論がさらに進むことを期待しております。本日のサイドイベントがより大きいものとなり、持続可能な発展のための大きな弾みとなりますことを記念して、ご挨拶に変えさせていただきます。ありがとうございました。
So Aradana, if you can hear me, please welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Josh, and good morning, good evening, and good night to all the listeners from other parts of the world. And I would like to thank you all for including us in this event today. And my apologies for the network. It's a bit weak right now, and as I'm joining from home, so my advance apology for the background noise. As Josh has well mentioned, I'll be speaking on how enhanced transparency is helping Fiji to advance in other areas of country's development. So basically, sharing some of our understanding how we will be using the enhanced transparency framework, not only for the purpose of reporting under the Paris Agreement or UNFCCC. To begin with, we are well aware that the enhanced transparency framework under the Paris Agreement is expected to build mutual trust and confidence and promote effective implementation at the international level. And also that the enhanced transparency framework will improve the current verification and monitoring reporting requirements. Just to let you know that in Fiji, we currently do not have a well-established MRB system for the UNFCCC. However, we are working towards actually establishing one. for example, in the process to establishing the MRV system, we have recognized that we will start off with 2 levels of the MRV system. One being the MR enhanced transparency framework that will be at the national level, and the another one that will be at sectorial level. For example, and we are moving towards having this enhanced transparency framework on a project-based approach. As you are aware, we are SIDS and we have competing priorities, so funding actually becomes a bit of an issue. So we are pitching into different project project funding that is available. For example, the ICAT, the CBIT, the NDC Hub. We are pitching into this kind of projects that are available, so that we are able to work on establishing this enhanced transparency framework. I'll share 3 of the projects that we are currently working on with. So I'll start with the ICAT project, because for the ICAT project, it is Initiative for Climate Action Transparency Project. I'll talk about this project first, because we are already in the implementation phase of this project. So the ICAT project looks at building the MRV in the agriculture sector, as it is one of the main emitting sectors, an important sector for economic growth. Hence, important to actually to accurately understand how to decouple economic growth from emissions growth. And also, it was identified in the Third Nation communication that the agriculture sector itself does not have a mitigation policy. So we are using the ICAT project to actually build the MRV system in the agriculture sector, and also at the same time to identify some of the mitigation priorities that we can be used to and translate into mitigation policies for the agriculture sector. One of the other important component of this project is capacity building. We have to ensure that whenever we do any kind of project, there has to be a capacity building for continuity purpose. So under this project, we are having the officials from Ministry of Agriculture and 3 other national experts trained in the national greenhouse gas inventory preparation for the agriculture sector specifically, so that in future, like the agriculture sector becomes independent, they know how to do their calculations of the emissions and what data is required to do that calculation. So they are undergoing their training also. Secondly, we have approached the NDC Hub, that's Nationally Determined Contribution Hub, to help establish the transport sector MRV for Fiji. For transport, as you might know, that transport is part of the energy sector. So energy sector is one of the highest emitting sector in Fiji. So we are working with NDC Hub to develop a project proposal for the establishment of the MRV sector. For the sector MRV for the transport, sectorial MRV. Thirdly, we have also pitched in for the CBIT project, Capacity Building Initiative project. So for this project, we look forward to establishing a MRV information system, which will be a computer-based system at national level, and another component included in that will be the NDC tracking. And what we will also be doing from the output of the ICAT project and the NDC Hub project, which is transport sectorial MRV, will be feeding into this CBIT project. All in all, I would like to say that climate change in ETF in the climate change arena will help us to create a baseline, which will help us to have better informed climate policies and decisions, and also a better position for Fiji to access climate finance and participate in other market-based approaches through credible baselines. Now I'd like to expound on why we consider ETF more than just the reporting mechanism under UNFCCC and Paris Agreement. While going through this process of having established the enhanced transparency framework, we have identified that the MRV that will be developed under ETF can be used as a tool to support SDG reporting. So we can incorporate SDG reporting under this enhanced transparency framework. Further on, we as most of the developing countries always have this issue with data availability. Some information are available, but it is scattered mostly in hard copies and are not stored and managed correctly. The information are usually stored in personal desktops and shared folders and not properly documented. So like when a staff actually leaves that position who's supposed to store the data, the credibility of that data is lost because only that staff is aware of what that data is. So in transition towards ETF will help us maintain that credibility of data and assist with document management so that when a new staff comes in, or maybe a staff from another section that comes in to ask for data, they are able to retrieve information required from a common source. Thus, it will reduce the loss of time and there will be no need to reinvent the wheel. Therefore, we are anticipating that the ETF will serve as a central repository and can be used to monitor also our national development plan. The ETF will allow us to increase efficiency and effectiveness of our service to our people. Once the system is populated by each sector, that means that when the data is actually entered, the system will have historical data, current data, and future information. Thus, will assist with the informed decision making. The finished product of the raw data is digital intelligence, as most of the economics stats people will know, and that has real economic value. Take, for example, PG as a seeds, we solely depend on fuel imports. The import of mineral products meaning light oils, motor speed, gas oil, which is diesel, and aviation fuel. So in 2019, we imported in Fijian dollars 1.17 billion. The fuel cost us that much. And the provisional cost for 2020 is around 600 million, sorry. So under the MRV system, it will contain the information that will allow us to analyze which sector consumes most fuel. Thus, this information can be used to formulate a budget to derive policy ideas to reduce fuel usage in that particular sector. Therefore, the savings from that fuel consuming sector, that dollar value can be channeled towards other economic development, or even considering the current situation that most of are in the COVID situation, more funding can be channeled towards the health sector. The savings can be channeled to the health sector to fight with COVID-19. Additionally, the ETF will accumulate more detailed information on projects and programs. Because as you might be aware that under the ETF, each country is supposed to report on adaptation, loss and damage, technology, capacity building, and finance support needed and received. So if we see this in country context, we will be gathering all this information. So for example, if we collect information on adaptation, we are actually establishing the adaptation baseline on vulnerable areas. And then in additional, we'll be able
Okay, then in that case, just as maybe there's also a connection issue, then we'll move on to Mr. Irfan Asad from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry in Indonesia. He is the Deputy Director for GHG Inventory Land-Based Sector. And he's got his PhD from the University of Auckland, and his main focus is on developing national strategy and policy of greenhouse gas inventories on land-based sectors, as the title suggests, and coordinating GHG inventory activities at the national level and managing all programs across that range. So, and he's going to introduce a little bit about the Science-Smart National System of Greenhouse Gas Inventory, and also capture a few reflections from their transparency efforts. So everyone, if you are there, which I do see you are there, please join us.
Thank you, Josh. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good day, good morning, good day, and good afternoon, good evening, everybody from all over the world. I'm Irawan, and today I would like to share our experience on developing the ETF in Indonesia. As previously, number of examples displayed by Ms. Aradhana from Fiji, and today I would like to focus on one particular aspect of the ETF. Today I would like to talk about our system that we developed in order to analyze or to display the greenhouse gas inventory. Can I share my screen now?
Indeed, you can. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So this is the greenhouse gas data management system. We call this one is Smart. This one is So a little bit background of this system. So the system is developed in order to provide an accurate, valid, and up-to-date data and information on greenhouse gases. It is part of, we developed this system since 2015 now, and then in order to provide data and information related that may be used for the climate change mitigation, adaptation, and low carbon development plan. So this is part of Indonesian support toward enhanced transparency framework. As you know that greenhouse gas inventory is complex, complicated, and needs an extended skills and knowledge. So that's why we developed this system. Actually, the Science Smart is an abbreviation from Indonesian side. We call it Sistem Inventarisasi Gas Rumah Kaca Sederhana, Mudah, Akurat, Ringkas, and Transparent. In English, the National System of Greenhouse Gas Inventory that's simple, reliable, accurate, concise, and transparent. Yeah. So this is the database management and provision system of greenhouse gas inventory, and developed in 2015 based on presidential and ministerial regulation. So in this case, we need a strong institutional arrangement in order to develop this kind of system. The objective is mainly on data collecting system, analysis data, provide we can produce a greenhouse gas emission profile from the system in national and subnational level. We follow transparency, accuracy, consistent, and sustainable of greenhouse gas accounting. And then, as I mentioned before, this is to support one greenhouse gas data policy toward the ETF. We developed the system. So this is a friendly use system, web-based format, based on IPCC guidelines 2006, the refinement in 2019, and also to support the greenhouse gas data. So this application, not only the database, but also we could use it as analysis tools, reporting tools, and support for emission profile, sectoral data, and in the reporting format, we can produce the CRF, table, worksheet, and chart. Yeah, this is the architectural vision of the system. So the system is basically comprised of three parts: the dashboard, input menu, and output menu. In the dashboard is open access to public. So a public the data, that emission profile, national, sectoral, province, and agencies could be accessed by the public. This open access data. For the menu input, because based on IPCC, so there are 5 sectors within: the energy, IPT, agriculture, forestry, and waste. This is based on IPCC worksheet. But the menu input is limited access to the ministries and agency and subnational government, because in this part that people can input their data and analyze the data. For the menu output, there are five output within this feature. So we can produce the CRF, the common reporting format. I hope that when the common reporting table is already produced in the IPC, so we can use that one also in here. We can produce a graph of emission This also limits access to the ministry, but most of this output we put it in the we export it to the dashboard. Yeah, if you see in here, so in this the left side, the left side is the dashboard one. So you can see the emission, the emission from the province or from the sectoral, and also we provide with maps, so it will be easy to navigate. For the input menu, there are a bunch of data input, but this we develop the system based on Indonesian context. I mean, so it is really Indonesian. We tailor the system so fit with our purposes. So in the energy, there are a number of data that we can input within this one. Also in waste, IPPU, agriculture, and forestry. And then for the output menu, as I mentioned before, there are 4 types of output menu that we can produce from the system. And then there are graphs, the key category analysis, and common reporting format. Yeah, the challenge, as I mentioned before, that there are a number of challenges on developing the system. First one is multi-agency engagement. As you know that Indonesia is quite a big country. So in order to invite or to collaborate with the sector and subnational, there are 34 provinces and 546 sub-districts in Indonesia. The challenge is related to the data providing and compilation, input process, data analysis, and QA/QC and regular reporting. So this is quite a challenge for us currently, and then there are a number of issues that related to this engagement. The second one is system integration or interoperability. There are a number of greenhouse gas emission applications that developed by different sectors, and we come up that we think that we need to integrate all of the system within one Indonesian greenhouse gas data, and now we are on the process for that. I hope that in the next 2 or 3 years we have one system for that one. The third one is about support and assistance. It's related to the infrastructure, because managing this quite big data set and then a very large number of data, we need a good infrastructure, particularly on the data security and data access. The second one is capacity building. So we need to train and to train all of the participants from the province and from the sub-district. So currently we're conducting this one like every month from different province or different subnational, and thanks to this the advancement of online or virtual meeting. So now I don't have to travel to all of this area. I just sitting in my desk and then with my team, and then explain the system to the participant in different part of Indonesia. And then also related to the, as I mentioned before, this data system development and the maintenance data security. Yeah, this from my side. Just thank you for inviting us to join this webinar, and I'm looking forward to discuss with you guys. Thank you.
And thanks, Irawan, and congratulations on getting ScienceMart this far and getting it together. We'll come to some group questions, but I just have a couple of questions for myself, because I think these two key challenges that you did mention, and one was that multi-agency communication or engagement. So maybe if you could share with the audience, because I think that's a really common issue, of course, and especially in certain countries that are quite big and maybe decentralized like Indonesia. Do you have any tips or some lessons or learnings that you could share with everyone in terms of making that engagement meaningful or effective across agencies?
Yeah. So the first thing that in order to develop this engagement, we need a strong institutional arrangement. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. So we need to develop a strong institutional arrangement in our system, that our institutional arrangement based on presidential regulation. So we have a presidential regulation and ministerial regulation related to this institute arrangement. So every sectors, we have 5 sectors, isn't it? So sectors divided by the coordinator sectors, and they are appointed by this presidential regulation. Because, for example, for the energy is managed by ministry, different ministry. I'm working for the Ministry of Environment, and the energy is managed by Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. For the agricultural, is managed by Ministry of Agriculture. So in order to doing that, we need a high level of regulation. That's why we come up with this presidential regulation since 2017. In 2011, actually. Yeah, and the ministerial regulation in 2017. So although this is become easy for us to communicate with other sector, but indeed, as I mentioned before, that how to engage these people to collect their data, to analyze the data is become a challenge. So we need kind of in our cases that every 2 or 3 months we have like a meeting with these guys from these different departments, and then invite them to collaborate. The second one is about how to internalize or how to this climate change issue within their department, within their ministries. Yeah, because it's not all of the ministry are become very aware that this climate change is a critical issue, isn't it? Yeah, for us, because we are working for Ministry of Environment and Forestry, we are very aware of that. But different agency now we push them to it's like having a one specific agency or such specific branch in their office to deal with climate change. For example, in the Ministry of Energy or Ministry in Industry. So we push them to have their own unit that dealing with climate change. For the provincial and subnational level, we also conduct that one. For provincial, although they have they have the Department of Environment, but we push them to develop kind of working group within their system, working group of climate change, in order to collect the data and then run the climate change program that comes like that.
Okay, thanks for sharing, Iran. Hopefully that is helpful for everybody who's on the line, as also kind of not having challenges, but as looking at institutional arrangements. So if you have any specific questions about your own institutional arrangements that you might want to ask Iran or any of the other panelists, then please put them in the chat, and hopefully, and we will get to them very shortly in a compact format. So thank you, Iran. I do have another question, but I'll try and save that so that we get through all the speakers. So
thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Iran. We have next is Dr. Mao Huck, who is currently the Director of the Department of Climate Change, the General Secretariat of the National Council for Sustainable Development, which is part of the Ministry of Environment in Cambodia. Dr. Huck comes with a very long history in doing climate policy in Cambodia, ever since developing a national strategy on the design of low carbon development action in Cambodia, and then also being quite notably involved in the promotion of the development of blue economy and implementation of maritime law in Cambodia. So I would like to introduce Dr. Huck, who is already on screen. Hi, Dr. Huck, and the stage is yours, so please feel free to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm sorry that a kind of technology error that make us taking time to access to the right place. Anyway, I would like to welcome all the participants for joining this event, and I would like to express my sincere appreciation for inviting me to join this opportunity and to share my country experience on climate change transparency in order to achieve effective climate action and advance national development. Before I go to concrete or straightforward to the topic, I just would like to give the overview that of course we all know that we are facing the climate change and it's increasing day by day, time by time, and year by year. And of course, Cambodia, like other countries in the world, also face increasing threat from climate change, with increasing loss of human lives, significant damage to economic development, natural resource, and also the environment. And you can, as you may know, that right now with the increasing of the COVID-19 pandemic, together with the climate change impact, it caused the severe consequence for the economic and also livelihood of the people. And I would say that it witnessed that recently, we have the impact of COVID-19 and increasing number of dead people in my countries. And of course, another side with increasing impact of climate change, just since this time is the rainy season in our countries, and we have a lot of storm that damage a lot of households. So I think we witness by ourselves the impact of climate change, and so we have a lot of study in the country for future projection. But one joint study between the Ministry of Environment and also the Ministry of Economy and Finance showed that the impact of climate change may reduce country annual average GDP grow around 6.6%, and absolute GDP around 2.5% by 2030, and around 10% by 2050. I think this is a huge amount that impact for our economic development. On this, we need to take further measures on this. And of course, even the country take a lot of measures in order to respond to climate change through integrating climate change into national development, national policy strategies, and even we try to integrate into sub-national development planning and budgeting. However, we still have a lot of gap, and I will elaborate on this, what is the gap. And then, we developed the country climate change strategic plan. It's a 10-year strategic plan in order to promote the country to green, low carbon, climate resilient, sustainable societies. And this strategy is very important for the country. And of course, we try to encourage and integrate other countries or other ministries to develop their sectoral climate change strategies. We successfully inspired the other ministry to develop their own sectoral planning to respond to climate change. However, we face a few challenges for implementation of those strategies. For example, limitation of technology transfer and also limited financial support for the implementation. Of course, we also have tried to improve the regulatory framework, and recently we developed our greenhouse gas emission reduction sub-degree, and this will play a very important role in order to manage greenhouse gas emission reduction project in the country. Recently, we faced a lot of challenge that we could not manage our country greenhouse gas emission project, for example, under CDM, under joint under voluntary carbon market, and we need to enhance this. And this is a matter of data management and improvement in the countries. I also would like to inform participants that so far I think we similar to other countries that Cambodia already submit our initial national communication, second national communication, BUR, and right now we're developing the third national communication. And of course, we already submit our initial intended nationally determined contribution and NDC updated recently. And we right now also developing our long-term strategies. Since we developed our initial national communication, we experience a lot of gap, especially for data. And I think Cambodia, like other country like other least and developing country in the world, we face this kind of data efficiency or data limitation. It costs us a lot of uncertainty when we project the long-term impact of climate change. For example, more of our data, it rely mainly on our assumption and other country experience. So when we use this kind of information, it makes us not so realistic and not so certainty that how can we manage in a way that make us more efficient in terms of climate response. And we learned that the data availabilities will play a very important role for us in order to project long-term impact of climate change, and also we can identify possible mitigation action in the countries. And of course, we can make a good strategy and action plan in order to respond those. But because of the data gap, it makes us a lot of uncertainty for this kind of projection and make our planning it not so accurate, I would say. Yeah, I think maybe not everyone can make data, I mean accuracy in terms of projection, but at least to more reliable and proxies projection, so that we can make a good planning in order to respond to the impact of climate change. And we experienced that when we develop our climate change strategic plan, it is a 10-year program, and of course with limited our country information, we don't have any quantitative target in terms of emission reduction. But it is not good for us, I would say, that right now we have more and more activity in place, and especially within after the Paris Climate Agreement, a lot of report that we need to do. And I think before we have 5 years report, it means that we develop national communication every 5 years. I mean, we already forgot it, and then we start to prepare again, But right now it's very frequent that we develop our BTR, or BUR so-called, and NDC, it's very frequent, and other country report that we need a lot of data in order to develop this. And we consume a lot of time for data collection, and this is because of our limited in terms of data management system. And I think we need to improve on this in order to make our future projection and our future work is more effective and more reliable. With the support from ICAT DTU, of course, they support the development of a MOV framework, and of course, the support just sector by sectors, and we get the support from energy sectors. And during that time, of course, we learn a lot how to improve data management and how good data will be in order to contribute to our strategies and policy development in the countries. And having learned from this experience, right now we get another support for transport sectors that we need to develop our MOV framework in the countries. And on this, of course, since we have learned from the previous projects, we have shortened our time in order to collect data and in order to process the report. But we still find a lot of gap in the countries. And importantly, as I said previously, when we develop our NDC update, of course, we show our commitment that we expect to reduce around 40%, 42% of emission reduction by 2030. But how to measure the emission reduction, how to monitor the activities, I think is still our gap. But gone through the experience from the support from DTU, I mean ICAT DTU, we learned that, okay, the country have to do something in order to measure and in order to monitor our project implementation or active implementation. On this, we develop our online tracking tool for NDC implementation. But I would say that even we have this kind of initiative, but a lot of challenge remain faced since we don't have sufficient data, especially when we conduct we do online tracking system. We need a lot of data from the line industry. But we difficult in terms of this, and I think we need to improve this in order to improve our data management. And I would say that data very important for us to make a future projection and also for long-term planning for the country. Otherwise, it makes us difficult to make any goal or target for the development, not only economic but also environmental management in terms of climate change response. And we hope that with the increasing participation and increasing commitment from our partner under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and also under the Paris Climate Agreement, we hope that we will get a lot of opportunity for capacity building and also support for data management and also monitoring and also tracking for the country. And we expect that we can improve our future planning even better when we have data availabilities. And on this, you know, we have nothing but to call for the advanced countries to share more experience from their country and know how it's very important in the current context. And also we want to translate into concrete action as well in order to make more effective and more efficiency in terms of climate response. I also would like to inform the participant that right now Cambodia is developing our long-term strategy for carbon neutrality, and it is very important that the country have specific target. So data is very important for this, you know. And right now, personally, I have a big concern how, since we have a specific or we have a commitment to be a carbon neutralities, and the understanding of the data is even more important, you know, for the country in order to develop this kind of strategies. And of course, we hope that we can learn from the development of this strategy, and we can improve for the future activities. And I really appreciate, and I hope that during the discussion can find a way or can learn other country experience how to improve data management and also how to make more reliable and applicable long-term planning for climate change response. So I would like to end my intervention here, and thank you very much.
And a very big thank you to you, Dr. Haq. That sounds, I think you've shared with us the multitude of all the different activities and tasks and challenges that Cambodia has that you've experienced in developing the national MRV system, and it's all being surmounted to now the long-term strategy. So personally, I wish you all the best and luck with the LTS. I'll just because we've really come down and hit the edge of the time here, and I'd like to open it up for any questions here for Dr. Haq and anything that he covered. And as I do that, I'm just going to share my screen once more. So please put forward your questions. We will be wrapping up right now. I just want to bring up the country speakers once more, because we did also want to bring back in Aradana to also wrap her intervention up. And I'm going to clarify while we bring back in Aradana from Steve Thorne. So this, if you could just indicate who you would like to answer this question in regards to a credible independent verification system. So if you could just, if there was a particular speaker that you'd like that might be able to more appropriately answer that, please just insert that in the chat box. And Aradana, if you're there, it'd be great if you could just come in and wrap up what you were presenting. So. Okay, it appears that she's also.
Hi, Josh.
Oh, hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Josh,
okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful.
Sorry, it was my internet connection. So you are actually giving the floor to me to wrap up?
Yeah, I think it'd be great to wrap up, just because you cut off there. So, and then just for everybody else, I do apologize for running a few minutes over. We'll try and wrap things up, and I'll try and there will be an evaluation form after this. But I think what's more important is really providing this email of mine to carry on the conversation and any questions that you do have, so that we can get those insights from the speakers back to you. So Aradana, please, it'd be great if you could wrap up.
Thank you, Josh, and apologies to all the participants for the network issue that I'm currently facing. Just to wrap up, I think I was almost complete, but just to add that the ETF, we are looking at it as that it will contain all this information, baseline, even give us opportunity to re-evaluate the activities that we are doing in areas of adaptation, the options that are working and that that can be replicated elsewhere. And the important thing for most of the different level of organizations that will be part of this ETF will be able to get information from a common source and a more credible source. And just to mention that I have been in a couple of webinars, and there has been emphasis on that we are supposed to have a proper existing a regulation or law that can support. So for Fiji, we are currently have a draft climate change bill. So we want to table it into Parliament sometimes in August. That will help us to actually help us to form this enhanced transparency framework for better reporting under Paris Agreement and other aspects that I had mentioned earlier on. So just to conclude, I would like to say that the transparency, accuracy, completeness, comparability, and consistency, that's the tech principle under the ETF, will pave way towards good governance, increase efficiency and effectiveness, demonstrate integrity, build further confidence in our government, and reporting on the progress of commitments. So that's all from my end, and thank you so much, and apologies again for the network issues.
Thank you, Aragana, and definitely no apologies needed for the network issues. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share. And I'd like to then at this point also extend that appreciation and thank you to all of our speakers. And I do see, I did see Dr. Philip also at one point in the last couple of minutes. So a really big thank you. I hope this side event and this session was insightful for you all to get this insight into countries who are clearly seeing the value and benefits of transparency and pushing that forward with quite a lot of speed and acceleration, whether it's branching out into engaging other departments, or if it's the culminating in the formulation of a long-term strategy. Some really impressive examples and stories here from Malaysia, from Indonesia, from Cambodia, and from Fiji, and also from that opening remark from the Vice Minister, the Ministry of Environment in Japan. So I'd like to wrap up. Thank you all for staying on a few extra minutes. That really do appreciate it. Please follow the Data for Better Climate Action campaign. As you'll see on the screen, there are those 14 organizations who we will be active over the coming months. We will be trying to rally around and expand the campaign to get campaign supporters on board. So if you are interested, please reach out to myself, Joshua E. at unops.org. We're trying to present at the COP26 a nice showcase of all stakeholders, both governmental and non-state, to really illustrate and put the spotlight on the need for further attention to transparency, and we'll be doing that in the run-up to COP26 and also through a side event at COP26. Visit dataforbetterclimateaction.com, and there you will be able to subscribe to our regular send out. And once again, thank you also for the attendees for joining us, and I hope that again this has been a beneficial side event for you to join. Both the software here will hopefully share with you a link for a very short evaluation form. I also will insert the link right there into the chat function for you all. We want to improve these events, you know, and aside from technical glitches, we want to deliver more valuable content to you all. So please take the time to fill that in. And I also then wish you a lovely evening if you're in the Asia Pacific region, and the rest of the day if you're in the Europe or in the North America and South America region. So thank you everyone, and see you at the next event from the Data for Better Climate Action campaign. Thank you.